This is going to be a brief video tutorial on IELTS writing academic task 1. What I'm going to do here is focus on one thing. How do you select the right information to include in a bar chart? Let us start by looking at the bar chart we have in front of us. The first thing to do, as ever, is read the question. This chart shows life expectancy for males and females at birth in 7 countries worldwide. Now this is the important bit, however. Summarise the information by selecting and reporting the main features. This is the part which candidates sometimes fail to read. It's a summary task. That means we do not include everything. We need to select and report the main features. And this is actually extremely important. The examiners will be looking for the main features, not all the features, not some of the features, but the main features, the most important ones. Now, how do we do this? Let's look at the chart down here. First thing, there are 21 pieces of information, 7 countries. We've got the total, the total, the male, the female. We can't include all, we need to summarise. Which ones do we choose? It will depend from chart to chart, but here are some tips for you. Look at the top, look at the bottom. What do we see here? The top is Canada, closely followed by the United States. So the top we need to report. And the bottom is down here in Bangladesh. So we need to report the top and the bottom to give us our range. And anybody who is expecting to or waiting to read this report will want the range to know what the variables are. Now something else which we can look at in the same area is what is the approximate average, and I would say it's around about here. It's about 72, maybe 73. And again, that's something you can do with many of these charts and graphs, depending on what we have down the y-axis here. Look for the average. That is relevant because Turkey, Vietnam, Iran and India, they're all close to the average. And that's one way to group those countries together. Now something else is there's one other key piece of information which must be reported here. The way to do this is stand back, close your eyes slightly, look at the lines. Which lines are longest? Which lines are shortest? Well, looking at that, the blue line, no, it's not the blue line, the yellow line is longest. Why? Because women, females, live longer. And that is exactly the sort of information you need to include when you're summarising a chart like this, that women live longer than men. There is, however, one final point here which you must include, and it is, of course, Bangladesh here. I can tell you actually, because I know the figures, that women do live very slightly longer than men in Bangladesh, but on this chart you don't see that difference. And if you have an exception like this, you need to report it. So, a brief summary. Number 1, always look at the question. It typically tells you to do the same thing, but read it anyway. Number 2, if you have a bar chart anyway, look at the top figure, look at the bottom figure. See if you can make an average. And when you're doing that, see how you can group countries together, or if they're countries with different groups together. I shall be posting about that later on. Then, the other thing you want to do is look for patterns. Here, the pattern is between male and female. And one other tip for you is something you must report on is if there is one thing which is exceptional. Here we have an exception with Bangladesh. Okay, I'll be posting a completed report on this on my website, Dominic Cole's IELTS blog, in case you're interested. If not, have a good day.